Hello there, this is Ty the Movie Guy, and last night I watched The Flash, hence my DC merch, and today we're going to talk about it. So we're going to talk about the characters, the plot, and the cameos. So usually I just go all in on spoilers, but for this one I think I can actually hold it back, so I'll give a spoiler warning halfway through the video. So if you haven't seen it yet, just stop watching when I give the spoiler warning and then come back after watching the movie. So let's get on to the characters. So starting off talking about the characters, we of course have to start with the Flash. And I really liked him in the lead role. I like his energy. He's just a really fun character. It sucks that Ezra Miller's a terrible, terrible person, but the role they played was actually really fun. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And I liked the two Barry Allens in the movie. From watching the trailer, I was a little skeptical that it was going to be kind of gimmicky the whole time and I wasn't going to totally enjoy it. But the way they did it was a cool way to kind of show his origin story, basically, without really showing it. Because, we obviously saw him introduced in the Justice League. And if they want to have an origin story, it'd have to be like a prequel to that. But they make it after the Justice League, but still an origin through time travel and different stuff through the movie. So I thought that was just a really unique take on an origin story. And overall, yeah, I really liked him. And I don't like the actor, but what are you gonna do? Then of course we have to talk about the two Batmans in this movie. Maybe but Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, they were great in this movie. Just seeing Batman fighting and just doing anything is amazing. Especially Michael Keaton, considering I wouldn't say too nostalgic to me, because the first time I watched the 89 Batman was 2019. So I guess that was like 4 years ago. So not too nostalgic to me specifically, but I just love that movie. So seeing him anyways was really amazing. And then also seeing Ben Affleck again was super cool too. And Ben Affleck said that he finally perfected his role as Batman. And I don't know if just because he said that, I'm like, oh yeah, it was really good. But I really did enjoy this over his other roles as Batman. But I did love those too. But just this one seemed even better. But also, besides just Batman fighting and doing his regular stuff, I really like the fact that both the Batman men were all they seem to accept the death of their parents more and more, and it really plays into the movie and tying into to Barry's story. But just seeing how much they both progressed and how they're accepting the death of their parents and how it made them who they are, I just really enjoyed that too. I really like the new Supergirl too. I think she is a really unique take on Supergirl because she lost hope in humanity because they locked her up, and that's just a really interesting way to take the character. And James Gunn did mention that the Supergirl they're going to make a movie on is also a lot like that.
Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character.
So I'm kind of hoping that it's the same actress and the same character, maybe. I hope. That'd be pretty cool. And yeah, I just really like the way she's really dark and she doesn't want to save humans because of what they did to her. And it's just a nice almost opposite take of Kal-El, basically. They're both good guys, but Kal-El wants to save humans, and then she doesn't because they screwed her over. And I just really like that. She was a really cool character too, and hopefully we see more of her. That'd be cool if she got her own movie. I'd be really into that. Now it's time to talk about the plot of this movie. And if you don't know, the plot is loosely based on Flashpoint from the comics. And I never read Flashpoint, but I have a basic idea of what happens. So basically, Barry Allen screws up the multiverse in the attempt to save his mother. And if you're a Marvel fan, this sounds vaguely similar to No Way Home. And for once, I gotta give it to DC and The Flash on this one. I think they set up the multiverse way better in The Flash compared to No Way Home. It just makes a lot more sense that someone would screw this up for their mother. and compared to Peter Parker like talking during a spell, it's No Way Home's the better movie, but the way they set it up is a little weaker. So congrats to the Flash for beating Marvel for once. And now we're going to talk about a spoilery part of the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, thanks for getting this far in the video, but go watch the movie and then come back. So now, the little thing I wasn't a huge fan of in this movie is the fact that the way they explain the multiverse is just a little confusing to me. And what I mean by that is just how Michael Keaton is obviously in the movie, but it's confusing to explain. I can't even properly explain it, but it's like Michael Keaton and General Zod are in like the same world, but like they're not really supposed to. And
one eternity later,
like Flash going back in time it screwed up like stuff before he even went back in time, and it's just a really confusing plot. Tell me if you understand it, because I don't totally understand it. Maybe I'm just not that smart, but yeah, I found it a little confusing, but that's just a very nitpicky thing. It's not like it's a plot hole in the movie. It's just a little confusing, and I have a feeling if I don't get it, there's going to be other people who also don't get it. So it's a minor thing, but it's one of my problems with the movie. If you still haven't seen the movie and you're still here, I don't know what you're doing here. I see you there. You there. Yeah, you. Get lost. Get going. Scram. Leave. Right now.
So why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Because we are getting into spoiler territory. Even more than last time. We are talking about the cameos in this movie. And I just want to quickly mention the small cameos towards the end of the movie, like Nicolas Cage Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman, and the Supergirl, Adam West Batman. They were all very minor in the end of the movie, and I thought they were pretty cool to see, especially Nicolas Cage, because it's a subtle nod to people who knew he was supposed to play Superman in a 90s Tim Burton Superman movie. So I think that's like a subtle nod to, you know, the fans who knew about that. So I thought that was cool, but I kind of wish they were more present in like the plot. Like I knew some of them were going to be in it, so I assumed they were going to like help the Flash fight the villain, but they never really did. They were just there. So I wish they were a little more in the plot instead of just strictly a cameo, but that's a minor thing. And then also we got to see two more Justice League members in this movie. We got to see Aquaman in the end credits, and I thought he was fine. I feel like he was there just to kind of remind people that Aquaman is coming out, just to get Aquaman in their heads so they go see his movie. So it didn't really add anything, just to try to get more tickets for Aquaman basically. And then we got to see Wonder Woman at the start of this movie. And I really liked seeing her because it just made the DC world feel more like lived in and real, and that like other heroes occupy it. And it's kind of like a criticism that the MCU gets, that in a solo movie, like bad things happen and like none of the other heroes show up. So having her briefly in this just made the world feel like lived in and like other people occupy it. Personally, I didn't really like Wonder Woman in Shazam just because she was like so integral to part of the movie. Like she revived Shazam, and that's a big part of the movie. So her coming out of nowhere to like save the day felt really weird, but her in Flash like made sense. Like she was just briefly in it to like fight some goons. Like it just, I don't know if I'm being biased towards Flash because I like the whole movie more as a whole, but it seems to make a lot more sense in the Flash. And then our final cameo is probably the best one. It was really, really cool. George Clooney, Bruce Wayne. That was cool. Like when I saw the car pull up, I said to my friend, I'm like, oh my god, Michael Keaton is in the main world now. Michael Keaton swapped with Ben Affleck. And then George Clooney gets out of the car, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. That was cool. And it got me thinking, are they sticking with this world for the DCU? and they're gonna like make the Batman Brave and the Bold with George Clooney, and they're gonna make the Supergirl movie with Kara from this movie. And I don't know how I feel about that entirely yet. I think George Clooney getting a solo Batman movie would actually be pretty cool, considering his last one was really bad. So I really like him as an actor. Like, I like Fantastic Mr. Fox. I like Ocean's 11. So I feel bad that he didn't get a good Batman movie. So if he's the main Batman of the DCU, I would kind of dig that.
Just like a bat. I dig it.
That might be kind of cool. But just even if it's a completely different actor, I'm okay with that too. But just seeing him briefly in the end of this movie was enough for me, and I thought it was a really cool cameo. If you haven't figured it out by now, I really liked this movie. I'm in between giving it like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. And there's been a lot of 9 out of 10s this year. Like, you know, Guardians, John Wick, Across the Spider-Verse. Just, there has been so many good movies this year, and this is another great one. I just love the whole trying to save your mother but then screwing up the multiverse plot. And then also, it's kind of a lot like Across the Spider-Verse if you think about it, but kind of like the opposite, where Miles is willing to destroy his world for his dad, and then at the end of this movie, Barry is willing to give up his mom to save his world. So if you think about it, they're like, it's just the opposite of each other, which is actually really cool to think about. And yeah, so this movie was great. I loved Michael Keaton Batman. That's like the big draw that got me in. But then when I watched it, there was like other great things about the whole movie. And yeah, really great movie. I feel like not as many people are going to like it because, you know, Ezra Miller sucks. Warner Brothers sometimes sucks. And the CGI was a little wonky, but I can get behind it. Like, I'm kind of bad at telling good from bad CGI. So yeah, probably not many people are gonna like it, but me personally, I really did dig it. So yeah, if you're a DC fan, you're probably gonna like it because it's got a little bit of everything for everyone if you're a DC fan. And if you can like get behind the CGI crap and the Ezra Miller and the Warner Brothers, if you can forget about that, it is a solid movie. So go check it out, and farewell.